What's up, guys? This is Semi out here from Phantom Knight Trading Company, and today we are taking a look at Rocket's Zapdos. So this is arguably the best card in Gen 1, the best basic Pokemon in Gen 1. So many things that make it so good. So we're going to be using him with a list here. Now this list, most of the list came from a well-known player. I've been doing some research on Gen 1, and I stumbled across Jason Klasissi's Deck Garage, I think it's what he called it, or was it Card of the Day or something like that. But anyway, at one point, he made an article about how he used a very specific Rocket Zapdos list in a tournament way back in the year 2000. And this list is kind of inspired off of his. Now, a lot of the Pokemon, or at least some of the Pokemon, most of the counts and stuff come from his list. However, there have been several key changes, and I don't even remember at this point what I've changed from his list since I built this a while back, and then I've been working on it progressively as I played. So I'm not sure how reflective it is of his list, but the inspiration absolutely came from him. So all credit goes to him. But let's get into the deck. So the main attacker is going to be Rocket's Zapdos. He's got this incredibly powerful combo of attacks here. Plasma for 1 energy does 20 damage, and if there's any lightning energy in the discard, attach one of them to Rocket's Zapdos. Very, very powerful attack. You know, if your attack can do 20 for an energy, for 1 energy, it's usually good. This thing has an extra added effect that makes it like practically broken. It makes it immune to energy removals, anything like that, and it also helps you to power up a second attack that can actually take a one shot, which is something that not many basics can say that they can do. For 4 energy, he has the Electro Burn attack. Rocket Zapdos does damage to itself equal to 10 times the number of lightning energy attached to it, but it does 70 damage for it. So if you go with just the energy cost, he's doing 30 damage to himself. So on a 70 HP basic, while the 70 is gold standard, doing 30 to yourself really turns you into 40 HP, and that's not that great at all, right? But the reason why it's so good is because Defender helps to prevent 20 of that 30, and so you could potentially Electro Burn the opponent and just do 10 damage to yourself if you have a Defender, and the opponent has to hit you the next turn, and then their damage gets reduced by 20 as well because you have a Defender on. So it actually protects Zapdos long enough to where he can take several KOs with Electro Burn, or even set up KOs with Plasma, and before he goes down. And a lot of times it's also useful to where if you don't have any defenders left, but you're already up on the prize trade, let's start exchanging prizes. Go ahead and start exchanging the prize because it's going to be beneficial towards you. Even if Electro Burn knocks Zapdos out, if you're in the prize lead and you stay ahead in the lead, it can only get better from then on. He's also got this fighting resistance, the key resistance to have. And retreat cost of 2 is actually not that great, but still it's respectable considering that he accelerates energy. So yeah, he's going to be the primary attacker. He has a finishing move. He has a setup move. Pretty, like, one of the, as you can clearly see why it's one of the most broken cards in the format. Let's see what else we got here in the deck. So let's go start from the top. So 2 of the partners that we're going to have is going to be Electabuzz. He is also a lightning type and one of the strongest lightning types outside of Zapdos. So he's got this Thunder Shock attack, flip a coin if any Pokemon was not paralyzed. Good stall tactic. It also shuts off the opponent's the abilities because the opponents can get paralyzed. So it's a good option. Thunder Punch is also a great attack. Flip a coin and fast attack does 30 damage plus 10 more damage. If Tails attack does 30 damage, and Electabuzz does 10 to himself. Now, this is going to be one of the ways that you're going to be able to donk the opponent, because for 2 energy, you do 30, potentially 40 if you get the flip right. So a single plus power can get you up to 50. Doing 50 damage in 1 turn with 2 energy is actually very powerful. If you had used a plus power a previous turn, you would have gotten to 70 damage, which is enough to KO the gold standard of 70 HP. So pretty powerful way to donk things, especially the ones that don't have 70 HP and are less. Then getting to 50 is actually very easy to donk. So definitely a powerful card and definitely useful in this deck as a secondary attacker should Zapdos not be beneficial for us to use. And there are some weaknesses to Zapdos that we'll talk about later, and Electabuzz can help to mitigate them. So we do run 1 Chansey here. and we run one Mr. Mime. So these are going to be our walls for the deck because one of the biggest weaknesses of any deck in Gen 1 is going to be hand disruption trainers like Last, Rocket's Sneak Attack, Rocket's Trap, and Imposter Oak's Revenge. So these two cards help to allow you to stall the match to potentially top deck out of your dead hand should you come to that. The other thing is that they also provide walls in case that you face one of the decks that have a good matchup against you. So it's very useful to have several walls in a deck. It really disrupts the opponent, forces them to overcommit. Because this is a format where you can play several oaks per turn, you could potentially put your opponent into a mindset where they feel like they need to have a response and they overcommit, they sacrifice too many resources and then potentially put themselves into a deck out situation. So it's a pretty good way to approach a match should you feel like you're behind. And so Chansey and Mr. Mime really help with that. Chansey has got 120 HP, not very easy to knock out. There's like virtually nothing that's going to be able to knock it out in one shot. Scrunch is a good stall attack, further allowing you to potentially top deck out of a dead hand. It says for 1 DC, you flip a coin if that's prevent all damage done to Chansey during your opponent's next turn. Any other effects still happen. Double Edge is also there. Chansey does 80 damage to itself. Now, why would you ever use this if it's a 4 energy cost? Well, you're rarely going to use it in this particular deck. However, being able to do 80 damage despite the fact that it could potentially KO you if you already took damage, still powerful because you're able to KO the opponent. There's not many things that can survive 80 damage. So potentially a powerful attack, especially with a couple of defenders. It can actually not get KO'd and actually have enough HP left to continue, maybe potentially do another 80 and take out 2 Pokemon with one of yours. So pretty useful to know about. The other important thing is that he has a single retreat cost, and in this like for his HP, having a single retreat cost is absolutely amazing. So he's definitely a good wall to use. Weakness to fighting, however, we have Rocket Zapdos who has a resistance to fighting, so it mitigates that. And this is a key resistance to Psychic as well. It allows you to wall against Psychic Pokemon. Um, and so there's a lot of utility that Chansey can provide. Mr. Mime is the other wall we have. So Mr. Mime has got this invisible wall ability. Says whenever an attack does 30 or more damage to Mr. Mime, prevent that damage. This power can't be used if Mr. Mime is asleep, confused, or paralyzed. So what this means is that you are forced to two-shot Mr. Mime regardless of whatever. And if you find yourself in a match where you're facing against something that does a lot of damage and the baseline damage starts at 30, like let's say Blastoise is an example, Mr. Mime acts like a wall in that deck and forces a lot of disruption, forces the opponent to find a response to Mr. Mime, and as a result, they can potentially sacrifice their resources to do so. Very good wall to have in this deck. The other thing we have here is 2 Scyther. So the 2 Scyther is an interesting choice because if you look at Rocket Zapdos, he's a lightning type, and there are most Pokemon that have lightning resistance, and there are some. They're usually fighting types, like Rhyhorn is an example. Rhyhorn usually has lightning resistance, but then most lightning resistance Pokemon have grass weakness, and so that's where Scyther comes in. You know, against any Pokemon that have lightning resistance, your Plasma will do nothing. Electroburn will do 40. And doing 40 when you're potentially taking 30 to yourself is not a way to approach a match in any form of consistency. And so you're gonna need an answer to something that has lightning resistance, and usually Scyther hits those Pokemon for weakness. Not only that, but Scyther is a great Pokemon to have in a deck like this. He has free retreat, so really useful to just put him on the bench and have him be there as a way to put something in the active should something get KO'd. He also has slash attack for 3 colorless, which means you can use your lightning energy. He does 30, and 30 for 3 is actually really good. So he's a great attacker. He hits for the key weakness that we need for this deck, and he's able to utilize our energies for his attack. So very useful. That's why he's a 2 count, allows us to counter those Pokemon. We do run a single copy of Erika's Jigglypuff. This is mostly here. I think Jason decided to put this in here because of the potential donking power it has. The second attack here, Pulled Punch for 1 DCE. If the defending Pokemon has no damage counters on it, this attack does 40 damage. And if it has any damage counters, this attack does 10 damage. So back in the day, this card was really used to just donk people basically, because 2 plus powers get you to 60 60 damage. That's a lot of damage. Potentially you can even get up to 3 plus powers and do 70 damage if you ran enough of those. So doing 70 damage out of nowhere from turn 1 even potentially, if you dig through your deck fast enough, allows you to have this powerful dunking engine that Jigglypuff can provide. I left him in here just because Pulled Punch is a good attack for 1 DCE. He's got that resistance to electric, and I know he's weak to fighting, but he's got 50 HP, so and a single retreat cost. It's always good to have something like that. Just allow you to just surprise someone with 40 damage. It's a powerful amount of damage to be able to hit someone with 40 damage. So just left him in here because it can be useful. Uh, Going forward, we have 3 double colorless energy. This is helpful for Scyther. It's helpful for Jigglypuff. It's helpful for Chansey. So, and it's also helpful for Electabuzz and Zapdos because they both have 2 energy retreat costs. So a DC essentially becomes a switch at that point. So DCE is really useful. 3 of them, 10 lightning energy because the total energy count is we also have 2 more full energy. So total energy count is like 15 energy. It's a pretty consistent amount of energy. Usually I'm not hurting for energy, so I think this is fine. 10 lightning allows you to power up Zapdos and Electabuzz and everything else. So plenty of lightning. We have 2 full heal energy though. This is an incredibly powerful tech in this build, and the idea definitely came from Jason Klaczynski. I think he might have had 1 in there, but I decided to increase it to 2. And useful because if they status your active Zapdos, just attach a full heal energy and it becomes awake. Asleep, confusion, paralysis, nothing like that can stop you with the full heal energy attached. So very useful to have, very good option to have. Computer search to find it if you need it in the clutch moment, but definitely useful. So 3 computer search and 4 item finder. Now, in terms of the counts, I think these counts came from Jason again, but pretty useful amount. I think the 4 item finder is actually very useful because if in a match you're struggling, it's going to be a long match, and so item finder is there to help you in those long matches. 3 computer search is also pretty good. 3 count is really good. So I think that this combo works well. 2 scoop up. Very useful to be able to move around your Pokemon. Like we already mentioned, some of them have 2 energy retreats, and so very useful. Potentially also it's a healing effect. You can scoop up a heavily damaged Zapdos and just put another one from the bench to the active. Or you can even like promote your Scyther, play down the Zapdos you scooped up, and then just put an energy and it starts accelerating with 0 damage. So very powerful. It's also give you some pseudo immunity against Gust of Wind. So once again, very useful. 3 super energy removal and 3 energy removal. So remember that Rocket Zapdos allows you to accelerate energy from the discard. Super energy removal says discard 1 energy card attached to one of your Pokemon to discard of the opponent's 2 energy cards. And 1 for 2 is very powerful, especially in a Rocket Zapdos deck where you're able to just accelerate the energy you discarded right back onto Zapdos. Very, 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 very powerful combo. Allows you to be able to sustain attacks and just there's that, like this card was. It feels like this card was always meant to be used with Rocket Zapdos with the amount of powerful synergy that they both have together. We also run the 3 energy removal though. Energy removal again is a huge part of Gen 1 meta. In most of the top competitive decks, you're going to see heavy counts of energy removal just because of how powerful the effect is. So 3 and 3 allows you to really slow down the opponent and really devastate their board in potentially in 1 turn because you can item finder for more if you need it or if you had 2 in hand. So defender, we have 3 defender, very useful because Rocket Zapdos, again, his second attack will do 70 but does 30 damage to himself. 1 defender brings it down to 10 damage, so very useful to be able to use multiple Electroburns from a single Zapdos. Defender is very powerful in this deck. It's also useful to just decrease the opponent's damage, obviously, so allows you to just have more staying power. 3 plus power though, definitely powerful. because Rocket Zapdos does 20, and Electabuzz does 30, and Jigglypuff does potentially 40. So your plus powers are able to potentially get you donks. They can also help you set up 2-hit KOs on 70 HPs. Scyther does 30, right? If you do plus power, it does 40. So 30 plus 40 is 70. So that's a 2-hit KO right there. Plus powers are just overall very useful. Heavy count in this case because we have low energy. I'm sorry, we have low attacks like 20 and 30, but plus powers allow you to potentially turn 3-hit KOs into 2-hit KOs. Very useful to have. 4 Professor Oak, obviously, and then 3 Bill. These are going to be your draw engines here. I think Jason designed the initial build to be able to survive against lasses and disruption. And obviously a 4 count of Bill would be useful, but I think 4 and 3 are fine. That should be plenty, especially with item finders. You should be able to get some back, especially with 4 item finders. It actually gives you more flexibility, especially mid-late game, to be able to get an oak back from the discard. So 4 and 3 is good. Allows you to able to top deck out of your dead hands and get into your deck and potentially set up some powerful combos. So very useful. 3 energy removal we talked about. 2 Gust of Wind. With Scoop Up, this is going to be these are almost standards for something like this. If it's an evolution deck, you don't have much space potentially for Gust of Wind, but for a basic deck like this, definitely you're going to want a couple Gust of Wind. You don't want the opponent powering up something on the bench and you're not able to touch them, so definitely Gust of Wind is powerful. 3 Rocket Sneak Attack and 2 Nightly Garbage Run. So 3 Rocket Sneak Attack is going to be the way that we disrupt the opponent. It's just a powerful card, and in this deck, if you can slow down your opponent, Rocket Zapdos has such a powerful amount of speed because a couple of turns of Plasma and accelerating energy allows you to potentially do one-shots within a couple of turns, and that says a lot for the deck. So Sneak Attack helps you to set that up. If you can get a couple of Sneak Attack off and destroy the opponent's trainers, and in the meantime power up Rocket Zapdos, like you get such a huge advantage in the match that there's usually no reason not to play them because they're so good. And then of course 2 Nightly Garbage Run, very useful to get energy back, to get Pokemon back. Just an incredible card. Practically every competitive deck will have a couple of these, so definitely, and they're usually played in every match, so absolutely important, especially in Gen 1. Again, deck outs are a big thing in Gen 1. It happens all the time. Garbage Run is your way to prevent deck outs, so very, 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 very important card. But yeah, that's the overall. That's a deck. Now in terms of general matchups, it's got a super powerful matchup against most decks with the disruption, with the acceleration, with the different types of attackers that we have, with the potential donking power. Like so many things going for this deck. We even have answers with the full energy to status effects. So many things that this deck has. Now, some of the big weaknesses of Rocket Zapdos, we talked about one of them was the fighting type Pokemon that have lightning resistance. And if you think about it, fighting hits Electabuzz, Chansey, Jigglypuff, all for weakness. And so Scyther and Rocket Zapdos are going to be really the defense against fighting types. And so fighting types, especially those with the lightning resistance, can cause a lot of problems. Scyther, hopefully he's there. Like hopefully you have one on the bench at that point and are able to power him up within a couple of turns to appropriately respond to the opponent's fighting types that have that potential resistance. So we do have an answer for that, so that's really useful. The other thing though, and this is literally the biggest weakness to Rocket Zapdos, is going to be Clefable. So let me go ahead and pull him up because he's just that powerful and important. Fable. Okay. This card is the bane of Rocket Zapdos' existence. It was hardly ever played until Rocket Zapdos was printed and until it became big. That's when all of a sudden people started playing this card because it's literally just a counter. It's literally a counter that was printed several sets before Rocket Zapdos even came out. So from the jungle set, we have this Clefable. It's got this metronome attack for single energy. choose one of the defending Pokemon's attacks. Metronome copies that attack except for its energy cost and anything else required in order to use that attack, such as discarding energy cards, no matter what type the defending Pokemon is. Clefable is still colorless. So what that means is you're able to copy the opponent's attacks without needing to match their energy cost. That is an absolutely insane attack, and it only costs 1 energy to do so. Now, usually what that means is that with Clefable, you're limited to the Pokemon that the opponent plays, right? So not in every situation, when Metronome is not going to be your cannon to be able to hit through the opponent. It's situational. However, in Rocket Zapdos' case, because of Metronome not needing to copy energy costs, it's able to copy Electroburn for a single energy. And it doesn't even take damage to itself because it doesn't have lightning attached usually. So it one-shots your Rocket Zapdos for 1 energy. And that is just completely destructive against this deck. It is literally the best counter to Rocket Zapdos. You know, if you're playing this meta and you have problems with Rocket Zapdos, throw in some Clefables. Not only would they be useful in other matches, they'll be hard walls essentially against Rocket Zapdos. Like the playing against a Clefable deck is not even an uphill battle. It's practically an auto loss, especially one that revolves around Clefable. Like if Clefable is just a tech, maybe you can deal with it, but if it's not, if it's actually a primary attacker in the deck, you're really going to struggle very hard with Rocket Zapdos. And there's really no real good answer to it. Like potentially, you could run fighting types. However, I think that this combo is fine. I mean, you could potentially do fighting types. There's really multiple ways to play Rocket Zapdos, so you can go down that route if you wish. But even with fighting types, I think that Clefable is just pretty deadly against this card. You're He's got 70 HP, so he's not gonna get KO'd too easily, even with fighting attacks, especially ones that are gonna be 1 energy attacks, because otherwise, like you're gonna be powering up Zapdos or Electabuzz or something like that. And so, really no good way to approach the opponent who has a Clefable. You're just gonna have to accept that it is a bad matchup. Luckily, though, we do have several other attackers. We have Electabuzz and Chansey and Scyther, and we have several walls here to be able to mitigate the Clefable. So it's not like this deck just is completely reliant on Zapdos. It has potential responses, but in general, Zapdos is the attacker you want, and so if you're playing against something that walls it, it's going to be a hard time. But yeah, go ahead and take a look at some of the matches we got, because it'll give you a feel for how powerful Zapdos is and how much damage it can do in the meta. And it's irregardless of the weaknesses that it has, it's definitely one of the strongest basics. It's probably, arguably, the strongest basic in Gen 1 is Rocket Zapdos. So take that with a grain of salt. That's my opinion based on what I've seen and tested. And potentially, if go ahead and look at the matches, and maybe you'll understand also why. Like, I think you're not gonna really know how bad this card is, like how strong it is, until you face it, and that's when you really learn how deadly it can be. So, very strong card, very good deck. Go ahead and try it out if you guys want to. It's very expensive. The Rocket Zapdos costs like 2,500 bits, so not cheap at all. Electabuzz is equally as expensive, up to 2,500 bits. Like, these cards are not cheap. I mean, I've had to pull these Electabuzz, and I think I pulled 1 or 2 of the Zapdoses. So, they are absolutely bank breaking to a certain extent. Scyther also. Scyther is another 2,500 bit card. So the 3 primary attackers of this deck all are one of the most expensive cards in the game. So potentially you might want to like save up your binders, bits, or whatever to build something like this, because you're gonna want Scythers anyway. You're gonna want Electabuses anyway, and you're gonna want Zapdos. So long-term deck that's very expensive, but still very powerful. I mean, you're not gonna be disappointed if you invest your bits into these cards for sure. But yeah, I've rambled on enough about how good this card is, so let's go ahead and get into some matches. Okay, looks like we're matched up against Sanix. We had a match against him earlier, but he got disconnected. So now we're getting a rematch, it seems. But we're going to start with Electabuzz. We'll bench the Scyther since he's got favorite retreat. We'll go ahead and attach the energy to Electabuzz. Could potentially defender him, but I might have to scoop up if he paralyzes me anyway. So we're just going to Thunder Shock. Well, we won't play the computer search at the moment. I don't want to burn too many of these resources just yet. So we did paralyze him, so that's good. Let's take a look here. Did he play the full heal? He's no longer paralyzed, but I got lucky that I didn't get paralyzed either. So I guess technically at this point we can just kill. We can win because I can computer search for a plus power, but that's not fun. So we're just going to attach the energy and Thunder Shock and see what kind of deck he has. He plays the Resistance Gym, and he's starting to power up Mr. Mime. That's a wall. We get the plus power now, so we do need another lightning energy though. And I think I might just go ahead and play out these two for another lightning. Attach that here. That takes the KO, and we can defend her because he might have enough energy to attack with Mr. Mime. So we'll Thunder Punch now for the KO. 2 plus powers in hand, which are actually pretty much So yeah, we could. I think we're just gonna end our turn at this point. How much is he doing? He's doing 10 plus the damage, right? So 30 plus 10 is 40. That's actually gonna KO us. So at this point, we might as well just scoop up because he's gonna die. So that's what we'll do. We'll scoop up. Then we can bench him again. Plus power is actually going to be. So what we need to do here is actually continue to hit with him so we can plus power him and then Oak and then attach the energy. We can also remove his energy and we can sneak attack him. So he's got switch and full heal. We'll get rid of the full heal because he, Thunder Shock could paralyze him. So we're just going to try to paralyze, and we do. Alright, now this next turn we can again take the match if he doesn't find a way out of this, and we just, we saw his hand, so he top deck a Ghastly and switches. Okay, so we're gonna Bill. We have our own Mr. Mime, but I don't think I want to bench him just yet. We'll definitely bench Rocket Zapdos though. And what we can do is, okay, so we can super removal, and now the thing this only works on one Pokemon, right? Choose one of your opponent's Pokemon up to 2, yeah. So not worth it kind of at this point, but we'll go ahead and I think we're just gonna hold the hand that we have and then just Thunder Shock and gonna paralyze him now. Looks like he just had to pass. Don't think I want to bench another Scyther. Might have to save those spots for something else. We're just going to Thunder Shock again. Let's see. Until he gives me a reason to play Scoop Up, which would likely mean the paralysis with Lick. There's no point for me to bother with that. So not yet. And what we can do here is force him the next turn. So again, we're just going to continue with the strategy. Like, I'm going to save this until it becomes an important moment of the match. Like, let's say I'm about to KO this Ghastly, and then I can play energy removal to get rid of that second psychic energy so that he has no options next turn. He gets a Bill off top deck, so he's finding his way through his hand at this moment. Now he paralyzes us, so now we can, now we actually have a perfect opportunity here. What we can do is we can energy removal the Mr. Mime on the bench. We can scoop up Electabuzz, and we can we'll promote Scyther since he has free retreat. We're going to bench Electabuzz since he's going to be useful if he has more Mr. Mimes. What we'll do here is we'll get rid of these two. Yeah, for a lightning. And we're going to retreat into Rocket Zapdos. We're going to attach the energy to Rocket Zapdos. And then we're going to Plasma to get another energy back. So now our deck is really rolling. He has no energy on the board. All he can do is attack with Ghastly. He can potentially paralyze me for several turns, but it'll be alright. So yeah. So he decides to promote Mr. Mime instead and start building up Haunter. Luckily, Plasma will hit through the wall, so that's another advantage that Plasma has as a option to do low and high attack damage. So, but we can also power up something else. Now, what I can do here though is if I attach a DCE to the active and accelerate, I can do that next turn. So I'm just gonna do this instead. Now Scyther's fully powered up, we'll Plasma for another electric, and now we can attach the DCE and just take a full hit KO. Alright, so that's game. So we'll just use the full heal energy instead. And Electro Burn for the game. And that's it. We've won. So we could have won on turn 2, and you know, early turn donks are a huge part of this meta. Even our deck is even designed to potentially donk with Jigglypuff, but it's not as much fun, especially in a YouTube video like this. So it's probably better in general to acknowledge that we would have won, and then we can continue the match because it's more fun that way. And in this case, you know, the outcome is still the same, but it was a better match overall. Plus, you gain more bits that way, so there's an incentive to actually continue the match. So yeah. Okay, we got a match here against My Name is Mike. Okay. Gonna start with Scyther. He's got Fear Retreat, so we're not gonna bench the Mime just yet, unless we think we're gonna need it. We'll draw the extra card. That's awesome. Abra and Jinx. So Alakazam moves damage counters. What does Jinx do? 2 coins, flip 2 coins for each damage counter for any Pokemon, but he doesn't move my damage counters, he moves his own. So it's interesting because Mr. Mime is psychic, which means that his damage output, like, you know what? We can, we'll bench him. Go for it. Let's just go for it. We'll play Sneak Attack to get rid of that Oak. He does have a Gust of Wind. I kind of wish I played Sneak Attack before I saw his hand, or before I benched the Mime. So at this point, though, we're just going to play this and end our turn. Next turn, we can computer search potentially for a DCE or an Oak, depending on what he does with his hand. He got rid of his Oak, though, so I'm not too worried about that. He did Lysander the Mime, as expected, so I might, you know what, I'm actually comfortable with this. This gives me another turn to power up Scyther. He takes a KO, but it should be fine. So yeah, we'll just leave it like this, and he'll take the KO. If he's got 30 HP, which means we're gonna KO him in the one shot. So let's see if he digs out of his hand. Haven't gotten a Rocket Zapdos in play yet, but you know we're still on the first hand. So okay, he plays an Oak, so he did top deck an Oak. There is a Coughing and then a Drowsy. Wheezing, if he's playing Rocket's Wheezing, then it can do some serious damage, so energy removal is going to be very important. That is the biggest weakness of Rocket's Wheezing, is energy removal, and so I think we're going to be okay. But at this point now, we're definitely going to be able to take the KO. Now the question here is, do I fear getting KO'd in a one shot? And I don't think so. So I'm just gonna slash. Just gonna take the KO. And there's another computer search, so that's awesome. What we can do is computer search for Rocket Zapdos, at least attach one lightning to it, and so when Scyther goes down, he'll have plenty of lightning to accelerate with. The other computer search can be useful for you could actually, let's see here. You want to be able to just super energy removal the active Scyther instead. You put me to sleep with the long distance hypnosis, so that kind of sucks. Might be wanting a switch at this point, but that would mean 2 computer searches because I don't have another attacker set up at all either. So he played another Oak, so now his deck is starting to run lower. Stayed asleep, so that's bad. What we can do is, let's see, I think what we can do is maybe get rid of these two for a no, because we're just gonna get rid of the garbage run. That's fine. For the Rocket Zapdos, bench him, attach the energy, and we'll pass. So with the plan here, the reason why I didn't do anything was because if I can get 2 plus powers working from Scyther, I can hit 50 damage, and then Rocket Zapdos from just a Plasma can KO the Jinx. So that was the plan there. There's a DCE, so he's really spreading out his energy. He's got a Furo. Drill Peck does 40, but he's really prone to super energy removal. If he commits one more to that, we can just take out both of them in one fell swoop, so I'm okay with that. Yep, we're in no immediate danger of anything because his double slap is just doing maximum of like 20. He plays less. He just destroyed our hand. Completely destroyed our hand. Wow. He played a less. He played a less. Wow. Okay, well, top deck a Bill, so that's cool. Ooh, full heal energy. I might actually, yeah, we're gonna play that. And we will plus power 4 to slash, because I'm getting sick of putting to sleep, staying asleep, so. He's got 2 lucky sleep flips, 4 lucky actually, because he had to flip heads and I had to flip tails twice. So his whole, he's been lucky all match. He hit me with that last that destroyed my hand, but thankfully I was able to get Zapdos with energy on the field before he hit me with the last. So that was incredibly important. He plays no. Dude, how I can't wait. Retreating is free though, right? I think it's free. Yes, it was free. Nice. So I can Plasma Burn, start accelerating energy. The thing here is, do I sneak attack him with 3 cards in his hand, knowing that he played a last couple of turns ago? What could he have? Okay, so he's not sitting on a supporter. He would have played one. He could be sitting on Switch or Gust of Wind, though. But he played one, so I think I'm not going to do anything just yet. I'm going to wait at least a turn. Can accelerate 1 more energy. So yeah, honestly, I'd rather get poisoned at this point because there's a Gust of Wind. He confuses me instead, dude. Now we can get rid of that imposter. Well, if he wants to give me, it's fine. We'll get rid of it. It becomes a dead card for him in the future too. So, do I Plasma and take damage, man? I gotta just Plasma. I have no choice. We take damage instead, dude. That is like so frustrating. He's gotten every flip correct so far, dude. He's gotten 2 sleep flips on me, and now I get poisoned. I Wow, dude. I can't believe that, man. That's just ridiculous. At least we got 1 attack off on him. So at least I'm dying going into my turn. So, and I can KO his coughing next turn with Scyther. So it's, he's been super lucky so far, but at the very least, I'm in an okay position. I wouldn't say, like, there's plenty of things that I would want to do, but as it stands, I am okay. Now, he's powering up this Furo, and that's bad because the Drill Peck, I've already taken 20 on Scyther. Drill Peck gets me to 60. He just needs a plus power, and this is about to go down. So I'm actually, never mind. Now that he's powered up Furo, I'm in a bad position, and I do not want to be in this position. Please give me a top deck on something. Please give me something top deck. Like, we're getting destroyed by this deck because of Lass and because of his sleep flips, man. There's energy removal. Okay, that is very, 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 very good because I will absolutely be taking out his energy, and then I'm definitely not going to tolerate dealing with confusion or poison again. So we're just going to slash him right now, and we get a defender, so that's important. If he needs a DCE to be able to hit with agility, and agility only does 20, so we're in an okay position now. We're in an okay position. I don't foresee myself getting KO'd in the next turn, so at least we've bought ourselves a turn minimum. Promotes the Jinx, plays the Venonat. His whole deck seems to be Lass and status effects. And then he had that Imposter in his hand too, so uh, I don't know, man. We haven't top deck anything though, man. Like, okay, so finally, luckily, some of his flips are going against him, and what I need to do is start removing energy. And okay, so in this coming turn, what can you do? I think definitely removing energy is important. This prevents him from retreating as well. So could slash. Now, do I want to defend it this turn? If he attaches a single energy, he can hit me for 20, right? Does that say 10 damage times the number of heads? So maximum 20 or just 10 or even 0. So I'm actually, yeah, no, just one more turn. One more turn is what I want before I play this defender. It could come back to really, okay, so again, the sleep flip goes against him. So now I think we're evened out in terms of sleep flip. So, but he got the flips at the right time, so it's whatever. But the lightning energy is not what I wanted to see, and he did not attach an energy to Jinx. So again, I'm just gonna slash. Now he's in KO range. We're tired on prizes, but his bench is in a whole different level than mine. And his Venomoth is really ominous. I really don't like the fact that he has that Venomoth. So the sleep flip is going against me now. Okay. That changes everything. That changes the whole match. The question is, do I want to recover the lightning because I want them in the discard for acceleration? But Scyther will be able to when he goes down. I think he will be able to do that. Do I want Mr. Mime? I think all of his attacks are just status attacks, so I don't think Mr. Mime will be useful. So we will be able to, luckily, to get out of this dead hand. We can play the Electabuzz. We can play the Chansey because he has Psychic Resistance, so that's going to be really useful. We can technically Gust of Wind and do some shenanigans. What is worth doing? I don't think actually at this point is Gust of Wind worth it or taking a KO worth it is the question. He only has a single. I think that Venomoth is really, really dangerous though. What does the ability do? It's like once during a turn for attack you can change the type. So that's just, I don't think I like that at all, and I don't like his coughing either. His Jinx is not causing me any problems right now, so I'm going to actually forego taking the KO on the Venomoth, and I'm going to attach the Lightning to Electabuzz, going to slash, and then next turn I can plus power to just KO it. He has a free retreat though, so this is also setting up something in the future. So he decides to Gust of Wind my Chansey, but it's okay. I got Scoop Up, so I'm not too worried about that. I have plenty of energy to do super injury removal on anything he decides to power up, so in a good position there. Though if he hits me with another Lass though, is when the potential threat could happen. So he's powering up the coughing. I can scoop up the Chansey, promote the Scyther, plus power the Scyther, and I can super the coughing, or do I wait next turn? But I don't want to get statused at all, so I'm going to super the coughing. I should have actually done that on the electric energy, so that was dumb. But I can now slash, take a KO. Got a DCE, so that's nice. I can scrunch stall with Chansey if it comes down to it. He promotes the Jinx that has not been damaged, so that's okay. He has a Jinx on the bench waiting to be KO'd. I think we have slowly gotten back into the match. That last just really destroyed us, and he had the coughing at just the right time. He flips heads, and I wake up, so that's nice. I can computer search here, but do I do it now or do I do it later? I think I do it now. Get rid of these two for the Oak. I can attach energy to Electabuzz and then Oak. There's a Zapdos. There's plenty of resources now. If he lasts me, I still have energy and a bench, so I'm okay now. So I'm okay now. I kind of find it this coming turn to get a plus power to take out this Jinx. To just get ahead of the prize trade. He plays the Mewtwo, the bad one. Alright, now we can definitely do some stuff here. So we'll get rid of these two. Get one energy in a discard for acceleration with the Rocket Zapdos. And we can, what am I looking for? Plus power. So we can plus power and bench Zapdos, accelerate onto Zapdos, and slash for the KO. There's another Scyther. So when this guy goes down, I'll have another one that's a free retreater to be able to potentially do some damage on him. He is promoting the coughing, but I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to super. I can super one of the lightning energies. He didn't get one, so that's nice. If because of that, I think actually what I'm going, but he got me to sleep though. So here's what I'll do. Since I don't need more energy on Zapdos just yet, what I'm going to do is do this and this for an energy removal. Take out the threat of status that's in front of me and end my turn, and hopefully I wake up, and I don't. But that's fine. Next turn I can computer search if I need to. He plays another energy. I'm still asleep, which is obviously bad. So at this point I'm just going to have to try to wake up here. Hopefully he doesn't have another energy. And even if he does, hopefully I get poisoned and not confused. Yeah, he's attaching Psychic to Mewtwo, so he didn't have one. Slash for sure. Get some damage on him. He's not KO range for Rocket Zapdos, even if Scyther goes down, so I'm okay in that regard. He's got the energy now. Confuses me again, obviously. I have a free retreat, so I'm going to try to retreat, and it worked out. So no, it didn't work out. Retreat failed because of confusion, so end our turn. What can you do now? I'll just keep trying to retreat because it's free. I don't have to pay energy cost. That's the important thing. Poisoned me. Try to retreat again to Zapdos. Now it worked out. And I can Plasma to be able to accelerate. So we got acceleration going. His Psychic will hit me for 30, but I got super removal, so I'm not too worried. Unless he hits me with another last, which I would really hate. He does Plasma. We'll super now on the Rocket Zapdos. Get rid of these two Psychics. We can... I have 10 cards left in the deck, so I'm not going to play Bill. I will Plasma, accelerate the energy back. I could potentially retreat and KO him if I wake up at least. I did wake up and I have an energy removal. Is it worth retreating to take the KO? Yeah, it is, because I just win the match. So, okay. Looks like we were able to dig out of that last hand. And luckily, there's the thing I was looking for. So, and we won. So, his deck wasn't too competitive, but you can see the devastating effects that even a single last can do for you, especially when combined with status effects. Like, we almost got destroyed there because of bad flips and alas. Like, this is the format. Rocket Zapdos usually is good with disruption, but not against something like that. So we were able to pull out of that. And if his deck had been built to be more competitive rather than it seemed like a hodgepodge of Pokemon, we could have been in some serious trouble. But yeah, we were able to pull it out. Luckily, all the players had a moment in the sun there. So yeah, that's Rocket Zapdos. Looks like we are paired up against Alzor, and we're starting with either Chansey or Mime. I think we're gonna start with Chansey. It's got the bulky HP. We're gonna have to probably stall for a little bit until we get Zapdos out. Okay, he's playing Clefairy, which means Clefable, and that means he's gonna be able to one-shot my Rocket Zapdos, isn't he? That's bad. Here's what we can do though. We can scoop up the Chansey. We're just gonna go into it, you know. We have super injury removals though, so that's gonna be our way until he evolves at the very least. So we can Metronome also copies attacks, and so I think Chansey might be good because he can try to copy the second attack and kill himself. So we'll actually, for now, we won't bench it, but that might be our game plan. We'll bench the Chansey, and then he'll be forced to copy it. Attaches a plus power. Now, let's see what he does. He can try to put me to sleep, which would be bad. He does put me to sleep. Luckily, I have the full heal energy, so we'll put that down. We'll put the Chansey down. We can actually remove all the energy, and we can Plasma again, and we take a KO. Now, it boils down to if he can evolve Clefairy, and oh no. Okay, so we lost that one. Oh man. Okay. So now he can't copy Double Edge. So what does that mean for me? I'm gonna have to try to just scrunch stall him, right? Yeah. We have Tails, but he can't copy Double Edge. He plays the energy removal. And we're left in top deck mode. So again, my thinking here is that he can't copy Double Edge, and he's not going to be able to KO. He needs time to power up Scyther, so I can just end my turn, not bench the Mime just yet. Once he starts powering up Scyther is when I need to bench the Mime, because that's when the Mime will be powerful. Mime will be a hard wall against Scyther. Clefable will be his primary way of protecting himself. So again, we're just going to be stalling because we don't have anything in our hand. There's a Zapdos. Now the question is, I think I'm going to hold off. I need more energy, first of all. And unfortunately, we're racking up resources in our hand that we don't want at the moment. And so we're going to need to, we have an item finder for scoop up should we need to attack. There's a Squirtle, and that's bad. So he plays the Oak now, and he's drawing a bunch of cards. So Okay, okay, this is okay. Sneak attack him. What is he trying to do? He's trying to get a Blastoise. He's got 2 computer searches, which means that he will need to use both of them to get a Blastoise out. That's why I get rid of Breeder, because otherwise he would need that. Now, I still don't have any energy though, man. So I have to just like stall. I have to stall. What else can I do? Maybe I have to go approach this with a deck out situation. He's already got 30 cards in the hand. He's gonna have to burn a lot with computer search. If potentially we can approach this from a deck out perspective, the thing is, when am I ever going to be able to use Rocket Zapdos? I have Electabuzz, so I'm okay with that part. But when am I going to be able to use Rocket Zapdos with the threat of Clefable constantly there? Because there's no way I'm going to be able to power it up. So I'm going to have to use one of my auxiliary attackers to take a KO on the Clefable before I start using my Zapdos. I've already taken out one Chansey, so that's important. He can't KO me, I'm pretty sure here. So he hits me for 40 damage. I can bench the Mime now. Yeah, I'm gonna force him to take a KO here. So here's what I do. I attack him with Zapdos. I can attach the defender, which means I need to remove both supers. Is that the right idea? I think I need to save at least one super, right? So what I can do is take out just these two. I mean, for scoop up, bench the Zapdos, I scoop up the Chansey, promote the Zapdos, I defender the Zapdos, and I attach the energy, and I plasma for the energy back, do 40 damage onto his Blastoise. I have the defender though, so there's this, there's Chansey, and I can super one of these for Blastoise's energy, and I can plasma again. I know I'm going to go down, but it should be okay. Plays the metronome, take out the Zapdos. Can promote the Chansey, he becomes a wall. There's an energy, I'm going to attach that to Electabuzz, and end my turn. Once again, our deck is completely empty. Okay, he's... Oh no, he removes my energy. Wow, dude. This... Oh no, dude. This is really bad, man. I guess I'm going to lose another prize here. This is like the worst matchup. Because we haven't gotten anything in our hands. We need an oak at least, dude. We gotta get into our deck, man. If we had at least that option, we could fend a proper attack against this deck. But we don't. So the Gust of Wind is really hurting us. You know, we tried to power up Electabuzz, but we have nothing in our hands, so we just got to pass. Like, what can I do here? Eventually, I will bench the Scyther, but even then, he might become a target. Because right now, we have 2 walls on the bench and no target, right? Electabuzz was a target, and he's about to be KO'd. So, yeah. Roll with the Chansey. There is a computer search, so finally I can get rid of this for the Oak. I can garbage run, which totally going to be worth it. Garbage run, this, and this. I might have to leave one of the Zapdoses, yeah. And then we'll build just more energy, which is not what I want. And I can't oak this many resources away, especially if we're trying to go for deck out at this point. So I might have to go for Scrunch, maybe. Scrunch stall, force him to waste more resources, something like that. That might be the option here. He's got 15 cards left in his deck, and he's running a lot of waters. So he's trying to okay, so he's trying to retreat, so he's burned that again. Gust of Wind now potentially could be really good. He's playing the energy retrieval. His hand is 10 cards. Wow. He's got all the answers. He's gonna Rain Dance. All he can do at most is 60 though. There's energy removal. We might as well play it. And we're just going to... I could potentially hit him for 40 again and force a retreat. Yeah, that's the plan. We'll retreat into Zapdos. We can hit him for 40 here. And we're just going to play Oak because I want... Oh, okay. We are able to KO the Clefable. So we have a chance now. Okay. What's the best way to do it? So we gotta play the Gust of Wind for sure. Gotta play the Pluspower. We gotta get rid of one of these and get rid of the Scoop Up. So get rid of the Scoop Up for the Pluspower. Gust of Wind, his Chansey, or Clefable, I mean. Play the 2 Pluspowers and Plasma for the KO. So luckily we have potential options now. So that helped us out immensely. Now, does he have a Pluspower? He does. Oh no! But he's played Pluspower and a Defender. Okay, but he needs more. He needs more resources, dude. He's gonna need more resources. He can Energy Retrieval for 4. What does that do? Can he KO us is the question. He probably can at this point, but uses Rain Dance 4. He needs 1 more, and he probably has it. He has it. He has got 7 cards left in the deck though, and I have 2 walls on the bench, so even a 60 damage on the Chansey doesn't help him. And he's benching another Clefairy, so he's got the KO now. And he's going to need to deal with my wall. So I think I'm just going to pass, actually. I need to force him to retreat the Blastoise, and then I can Lysander the Blastoise up again. And that's my only out against him, I think. So if he does Lysander, so that means we're gonna have to actually use it for Scoop Up. Now, how many Scoop Ups do I have here? I've used up both, and Item Finders. 1. Let me look at the Gust of Wind counts too. Both Gust of Winds are gone. 1, 2 Item Finders. This is my 3rd. I think that's all of them, dude. I think that's all of them. If I use this last Item Finder, I have no more Gust of Winds. He can just promote the Psyduck or the Clefairy, and I have no Gust of Winds left after this. Wow, dude. I have no choice though, right? Is a Gust of Wind gonna be able to save the match is the question. Can a Gust of Wind just beat his hand? How many? It depends on how many resources he's played. He's played 1, 2. He's played 1 Item Finder here. 2, 3. He's played 3 Item Finders. I think I have to let Chansey go. Yeah, I have to let Chansey go. This is the only way I have, because I absolutely have to use the last Item Finder for the Gust of Wind. This is the only option I have. So, how many of the nightly garbage runs have I played? 1. Just 1. It's okay. So I have a chance, and I can computer search for the garbage run if I need to. But for now, I need to force him to try and take a KO here. I end my turn. Force him to retreat. He's got 4 cards left in the deck and 9 cards in his hand. So does he have the resources? He has a single... Has he played any switches though, is the thing. He plays 1 switch here. And another switch there. 2 switches seems like it's about... He's got a third switch. There's a Psyduck for 20. Yeah, this is the whole gamble right here. Get rid of these two for a Gust of Wind. I'm pretty sure he's got one more item finder. But now, I guess he can just retreat. Does he? Do I have another defender maybe? Well, we're about to find out is the thing. So, we do have another defender. And an item finder. We have an item finder. Okay. So we're going to Oak. There's defenders. So, play a defender and end my turn. He's got 3 cards left in his deck. I have one more item finder, so that's my only out. Does he have it? Wait, what just happened? Hold on a second. Oh, the defender! Wait. Okay, so unfortunately, I forgot that the defender actually lets him attack me. Oh man, I completely forgot that the defender actually lets him attack me. Because, like, and now that I'm looking at the board, I guess he could have technically retreated into the Clefable and just put an energy on him. So, yeah, so yeah, that's how you lose with Rocket Zapdos. Um, any deck that revolves around Clefable and Energy Acceleration that makes himself immune to energy removals and can KO your Zapdos is gonna be a pretty rough match. But yeah, it was. You know what? We actually were almost close at the end there. Could have potentially stalled a little bit more. He just had 3 cards left in his deck, so. But that's a good. He found an out. He found out that with Defender he can KO me with just the 3 energy on Blastoise. So he figured it out. So good for him. Good match. That was well played. And think we're gonna end it on that one. So yeah, that's Zapdos, guys. It's got some weaknesses, but it's definitely powerful. So go ahead and try it out, guys. We'll see you in the next video.